Okay, let's just dive right in. If I say the words, the mark of the beast, or maybe just the number 666, what's the very first thing that, pops into your head?
Oh, for most of us, it's instant panic, it's horror movie music, it's some barcode tattooed on a forehead,
Yeah.
or a hidden microchip that's tracking everything you do.
Exactly. It has to be one of the most sensationalized, most feared, and let's just be honest, probably the most misunderstood ideas in history. I mean, people have slapped that label on everything.
Everything.
We've seen it with credit cards, social security numbers, barcodes, now QR codes, and pretty much every world leader since the 70s.
It is the ultimate conspiracy magnet. It's like the boogeyman of theology.
It really is. But today we're doing something a little different. We're pushing all the conspiracy theories off the table for a bit. We've got this source material here that takes a really serious doctrinal deep dive into the actual text. Revelation 13, verses 15 through 17.
Right, and the goal is to strip away all that pop culture baggage. We want to look at what the text explicitly says, not what we all assume it says. Because the sources here argue that when you look at the plain text, the Greek words, and especially the Old Testament background, the picture you get is pretty different from the sci-fi nightmare we usually imagine.
So we're avoiding what the notes here call newspaper exegesis.
Yeah, exactly. Trying to force today's headlines into an ancient prophecy. We're not trying to figure out if this specific politician is the Antichrist or if that tech company is the beast.
We're trying to understand the system.
The system behind the symbol. The mechanics of how this thing is actually supposed to work according to the text.
I love that. It feels way more grounded. Okay, so let's get into the text. The source material breaks this down, starting with Revelation 13, verse 15. We're introduced to a second beast and an image. So walk us through the setup here. What is actually happening?
Okay, so you have to see the flow. There's the first beast, which is this huge political power thing of an empire. But then the second beast comes along. He's often called the earth beast or the false prophet. And the text says he's given power to do something really, really strange.
Which is
He gives breath to the image of that first beast.
breath. That sounds almost mystical, like a creation story or something.
It's definitely mimicking creation.
Yeah.
The Greek word is pneuma. It can mean breath or spirit or wind. And the source points out a fascinating doctrinal idea here. It calls it pseudo-animation.
Pseudo-animation, so it's not actually alive.
Well, that's the debate, isn't it?
Yeah.
But the function is what really matters. Whether it's some supernatural demonic power or, super advanced technology that just mimics life, the result is the same. This inanimate statue or icon suddenly appears to have a presence.
It speaks.
It speaks. It has agency. And the source argues the goal here is psychological. It's all about making the idolatry feel real. Authoritative. It's about creating awe. Exactly. It produces compliance through awe and deception. I mean, the image can speak. That implies it has a mind. And if it has a mind, it can judge you. He creates the sense that Big Brother isn't just watching, he's alive.
Okay, so that's terrifying enough, but then the text pivots to coercion. It says, this entity causes those who won't worship the image to be killed. The notes really highlight that word, causes. Why is that so significant?
It's the Greek verb poiou. It implies construction or making or doing. The source really emphasizes that this means it's a system, it's intentional. This isn't a scenario that people just accidentally drift into.
Right.
The second beast is actively building a machine of compliance, a totalizing order.
Totalizing is a heavy word. It sounds suffocating.
I think it fits. Look at the very next verse, verse 16. It lists everyone. Small and great, rich and poor, free and slave. The source makes a big deal about these pairs. It's saying no social class gives you immunity.
You can't buy your way out of it if you're rich.
And you're not ignored just because you're poor or, irrelevant. It captures the entire strata of humanity.
It's a dragnet.
Precisely. And this brings us right to the thing everyone is waiting for. Verse 17, the mark.
The charagma.
Charagma. That's the word.
Now, is that a religious term? Because in the movies, it's always some, glowing demonic symbol.
Surprisingly, no. In the ancient world, this wasn't a mystical term at all. A charagma was an engraving, a stamp, an official imprint. It was used for things like badges of servitude. If you were a slave, you might be marked to show who your master was.
Oh, wow.
Or soldiers. Sometimes they would brand themselves to show loyalty to a general.
So it's basically a badge of ownership, like
Wow.
wearing a team jersey, but permanent and a lot more serious.
A bit more intense than a jersey, yeah. But the logic is the same. It's a public declaration of who owns you. And the text says the content of this mark is the name of the beast, or the number of its name.
Okay, wait. This is where people get their calculators out. They start trying to turn politicians' names into numbers to get 666. Are we going down that rabbit hole?
We are absolutely not, and the source is explicit about this. Don't treat this like a math puzzle. In biblical thought, a name isn't just a label. It's not just letters.
It's more than that.
It represents your identity, your character, your authority. So taking the name means you are identifying with that character. You're basically adopting that nature. It's about belonging to the tribe of the beast.
Okay, so it's an identity marker. It says, I belong to this system. But the text also gives it a very practical function. It says no one can buy or sell without it. And I feel like that's the part that terrifies people most, the economics.
Right. And honestly, that is where we usually stop. We focus entirely on the economics. We think, oh no, I can't buy groceries, I can't pay my mortgage. It turns into a survivalist panic.
Sure.
But the source argues that if we only focus on the buying and selling, we are missing the actual point of the whole passage.
How can not buying food not be the point? That seems pretty central to me. If I can't eat, that's kind of the only thing I'm thinking about.
It's major, absolutely. It's existential. But the source makes a distinction between the mechanism and the meaning. Buying and selling is the lever the system pulls. But what is the actual demand being made? What's the point of the lever?
I see. So the economics is the how, but not the why.
Exactly. The aha moment the source gives us is that the core theme here isn't commerce, it's worship.
Worship.
Yes. The Greek key word that shows up over and over again in this section is proskynesis. It means prostrate reverence, literally bowing down flat on your face. The force emphasizes that the mark isn't just a transaction fee or a new payment chip. It is a litmus test of allegiance.
So the system weaponizes your ability to live, to buy and sell, to force you to make a spiritual choice.
That's it, exactly. The text frames this as a salvation level issue. It's a binary choice.
Yeah.
Worship God or worship the beast. The economic pressure is just the tool used to force that choice. It isn't saying money is evil. It's saying the entire economic system becomes a tool of spiritual domination.
That is a really helpful distinction. It's like the carrot and the stick. The carrot is being able to participate in society, buy food, have a job. The stick is death and being shut out. But the price to get the carrot is idolatry.
Precisely. And this is why the source material leans so heavily on the Old Testament background.
Yeah.
They argue you really cannot understand Revelation 13 without looking at Daniel, chapter 3.
Daniel 3. Okay, yes. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Right. The fiery furnace.
That's the one. And the source suggests that Revelation 13 is basically Daniel 3 at maximum scale. It's the same story, just amplified for the whole world.
Okay, let's unpack that parallel.
Yeah.
In Daniel, you've got King Nebuchadnezzar.
Right. Nebuchadnezzar builds a giant golden statue, an image, and commands everyone to bow down and worship it. And he threatens death by fire for anyone who says no. Now, look at Revelation 13.
The beast sets up an image, commands worship.
And threatens death. Plus, economic exclusion for anyone who refuses. It's the exact same template.
Yeah.
The source argues John, who wrote Revelation, is deliberately pointing back to Daniel and saying, hey, it's going to be like that.
I can see that. But there was a detail in the notes about Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego that really surprised me. I think we see them as these total rebels, fighting the system, living off the grid. But the source says they actually cooperated.
This is a crucial distinction. And I think it's the most challenging part of this for a lot of us today, especially if you're feeling anxious about society. If you look at the book of Daniel, these three men were not hermits. They were high-ranking civil servants in Babylon. They had government jobs.
They were bureaucrats.
In a way, yes. They wore Babylonian clothes. They learned the language. They participated in the economy. They were completely embedded in the system.
They even accepted name changes. I mean, they're Hebrew names. Hananiah, Mishael, Azariah, those honored God. But Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, those names honor Babylonian gods.
Exactly. I mean, think about that. They let the state rename them after pagan deities, and they didn't quit their jobs over it. The doctrinal takeaway here is vital. They did not withdraw from society. They cooperated with the Babylonian system in almost every single way.
Until
the music played. Until the command was specifically bow down and worship this image.
So the line in the sand wasn't having a government ID or paying taxes to a pagan king or even having a pagan nameplate on their office door. The line was the actual act of worship.
That's it. Participation in society is not the mark. Transferring your ultimate allegiance away from God, that is the mark. They drew the line at one specific thing, worship. As long as the state asked for their labor, they gave it. When the state asked for their soul, they refused.
That is huge, because I think so many people feel like they have to just check out of society entirely to be safe. Move to a cabin, buy gold, get off the internet. But the model here is actually to be in society right up until the moment it demands your soul.
That's a powerful way to put it. And that brings us to the question everyone really wants to know, the modern anxiety.
Oh, I know this one. Is my smartphone the mark? Is this new QR code the mark? Is AI the beast? We see it every single time a new technology rolls out.
We have to address it. And the source material gives us what it calls the rails of sound doctrine to handle this. It gives us two guardrails to keep us from, falling into the ditch of paranoia.
Okay, lay them on us. What's rail number one?
Rail one is, don't reduce it to a gadget. Technology without the worship demand is not the mark. If you think the mark is just a microchip or a vaccine, you're missing the core issue, which is idolatrous allegiance. You're looking for hardware when you should be looking for a spiritual demand.
That makes sense. It's too easy to just blame a piece of plastic. And rail number two.
Real two, don't dissolve it into anything I dislike. Sometimes we have a tendency to call any policy or politician we don't like the beast, but the text is very specific. It has to be tied to the beast's identity and enforced worship. It's not just bad government, it's deified government.
The source had a great quote about that. It said something like, technology can serve a beast system, but technology by itself does not constitute the beast system.
That's the key right there. Tech is the delivery system. The beast system is an allegiance-enforcing kingdom. You can have the delivery system in place, like we have global digital networks today, but without that specific demand for worship, it's not Revelation 13, it's just infrastructure.
To help with this, the notes had a diagnostic test, 5 questions to ask about any current event or tech. I want to run through these because I think this is a tool you can actually use to filter out the noise.
Let's do it. These are great for keeping a level head.
Okay, question 1. Is worship or ultimate allegiance being demanded?
And if the answer is no, you can probably stop panic scrolling. Seriously, if nobody is asking you to pledge your soul or deny your faith, you aren't there yet.
Right. Question 2. Is refusal punished economically? And question 3. Is refusal punished legally or violently? Specifically with death.
Yeah, these have to go together. It's a total squeeze. It's not just, oh, this is inconvenient. It's, you cannot exist.
Question 4. Is participation tied to a ruler claiming ultimate godlike authority?
Again, look for that Daniel 3 component.
Yeah.
Is there a Nebuchadnezzar figure standing there saying, I am God?
And finally, question 5. Is the identity that's being demanded framed as non-negotiable for your survival?
So let's apply this. If you're using a digital ID to buy groceries, but nobody's asking you to renounce your faith or bow to a statue or swear allegiance to a dictator,
then I'm just buying groceries with new technology.
Exactly. You are not in Revelation 13 territory, no matter how advanced or, invasive the tech feels. If the answer to worship is no, it's not the mark.
That is incredibly grounding. It takes the fear out of the technology and puts the focus back where it should be, on our hearts and our allegiance.
And what's really fascinating, we cannot skip this, is that the source argues you can't even read chapter 13 correctly unless you read chapter 14 right after it.
Revelation 14, what's the connection there? Usually we just stop at the end of the scary chapter.
Well, right after we see the beast marking his followers, chapter 14 opens with a vision of the 144,000 standing with the Lamb. And guess what? They have a mark on their foreheads too.
They do?
Yes. It says they have the Lamb's name and the Father's name written on their foreheads.
So God has a mark.
Exactly. This changes everything. It proves the forehead imagery is about ownership and covenant identity. It's not just a literal tattoo or a chip. It's a sign of who owns you. The beast is just mimicking God. God marks his people. The beast marks his.
That makes the mark of the beast seem less like some sci-fi trope and more like a counterfeit spiritual seal.
And this leads to maybe the most comforting and sobering point in the whole source. The warning in Revelation 14 about taking the mark assumes volition.
Volition, a conscious choice.
Yes. The text implies you cannot accidentally take the mark. The warning is for those who worship the beast. The source puts it bluntly. There is no category in Scripture for accidental damnation because of a piece of tech you didn't understand.
That's such a huge relief to hear, because I think people genuinely worry, what if I get the wrong vaccine? What if I use the wrong payment app and accidentally damn myself without knowing?
The source is very clear. That's fear theology, not biblical theology. Taking the mark involves a conscious rejection of the Creator and a conscious worship of the beast. It's the Daniel 3 moment. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego knew exactly what they were doing. They heard the music, they saw the statue, they knew the command. It's a choice, not a technical glitch.
So what does all this mean for us today? If we strip away the barcodes and the panic, what are we left with?
We are left with a question of identity. The mark isn't about the future of banking. It's about allegiance, worship, and identity, all enforced by a system that controls your access to life itself.
It's about who you belong to.
Exactly. And the practical application is to live like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego.
Which means
Normal cooperation with society. Go to work. Be great at your job. Use the technology. Be a good citizen. Until the moment obedience requires worship. Until the moment the price of admission is your soul. Then, and only then, you peacefully refuse. Regardless of the cost, your job, your status, even your life.
it's faithful resistance. Not running for the hills, but standing firm right there in the fire.
That's it. It's not about fighting the system or trying to burn it all down. It's about outlasting it through faithfulness.
You know, the source ended with a thought that really stuck with me, and I want to leave you, the listener, with this question to think about. It just cuts through all the noise.
It's a provocative one.
The mark is not about what is on you, it is about who owns you. If the system demanded you trade your spiritual allegiance for economic security today, would you know where your line is drawn?
That's the only question that really matters.
Thanks for diving deep with us. We'll catch you on the next one.